All right, welcome back, everyone. After some, let's just say, technical difficulties, we're back. We're going to jump away from the previous race and jump ahead to our next one. My name is Grimelios, and I'm joined by Rory, and you were just in that other race.
Yeah, so because I was in the other race, I obviously didn't see anything that was going on there. But because of the technical difficulties with Oshi, not being able to complete a seed, we're going to look to reschedule that race in the coming days. So we'll be able to get that back, get that going again, hopefully pretty soon.
Right. It's on. Sorry, go ahead.
For now, we're just going to go ahead and move on to Shed and Brynhold.
It's honestly good that you did see it. There was some concern for a minute that given that you were, sort of actually doing your run, that you wouldn't be able to see the SRL chat or something. You might even go on to finish the seed before you realized what had happened. So even though it really sucks that happened with the with Sorrow not loading, it's good that the whole situation was caught relatively early after it happened.
Yeah, I agree. Unfortunately, a couple of my roommates came and told me that the seed was broken.
Well, that's nice of them. So what race do we have coming up?
We have number 1 seed Shed versus number 16 Brynhold2, bottom of the bracket there. So Shed, obviously first seed, came in with an extremely fast time in the free-for-all. I think it was like a 37 something.
Sounds about right.
So we're hopefully going to be seeing some really good things out of him. Brynhold, we've only really seen in the free-for-all against Griffs, so I'm not really too sure what to expect, but I know he's quite a capable runner of all skills. So hopefully seeing some good things out of him as well.
Right. It can be sort of tricky to try to make too many predictions about these randomizer seeds based on their seed, Shed being number 1 and Bryn being 16. On paper, we would, of course, expect Shed to walk away with the victory. However, I think it's fair to say that your seed number in a randomizer tournament is less, not impressive, but it's less meaningful than it is in a traditional all skills tournament, just given the random nature of it. So it's not to say that Shed didn't do a very good job, which he did, but given the random nature of the game, maybe Shed gets unlucky and falls behind or something like that.
Yeah, I agree. That's very true. As we've seen, seeds don't really mean much. So it's just sort of a general indicator, but you can absolutely just miss something really crucial. We've already seen that happen in several races.
Agreed. And speaking of races, we'll be starting this one up pretty shortly, just sort of exiting the SRL race, getting things kicked off here. As always, the start of the race will not be very surprising because you start the game and you run left, you get 2 pickups, and you go to sign. That's your only possibility. It's after you've gotten those pickups that things start to get a little bit interesting because you may or may not have options.
And it looks like we're going to be getting underway shortly. We've got both players loaded up, and here we go.
What's your
stream synced?
What's your prediction for the first 2 pickups?
I think we'll see a Keystone, for sure. And I don't know. What do you think the other one's going to be?
I'm going to go with Keystone as well. It's a safe bet since pretty much from the start of the game, usually you're going to either be going to BRB or going left into Glades after you pick up just a handful of things. And so to go left, you need 2 Keystones. So it becomes pretty likely that one of these is a Keystone. The first one is Bash.
Bash, oh man.
Well, that's more exciting. Oh my god.
Quite a bit more exciting. Grenade soon, TM maybe?
Maybe. It is always interesting because you can make these little predictions, both as a commentator here when we can see both people, and also as a runner. The way I always do it, it's kind of like you have this list in your head of all the options, all the different places you can go, and all the different items that you can grab. It's an ability cell for the second one.
Yeah.
And then every time you pick up an item, you sort of have to filter that list and say, okay, well, what can I go to now that wasn't accessible before? What pickups have I missed in the past that I need to go back and get?
That's definitely true. And I would sort of expect to see something like Grenade or Wall Jump coming up next. I appreciate Brynhold color coding to pink there instead of blue, because I couldn't really see the blue.
Yeah, it looks like they both color coded, right? Bryn's is more noticeable, better contrast, but Shed also is sort of greenish, I think.
Yeah.
If the restream is sort of being true to its colors, I guess.
Right. So I think either we're going to see 2 keystones here or a wall climbing ability, and it's wall jump. So
You are
we're
correct.
heading straight to Blackroot Burrows. The only thing that I could see them potentially doing before that is the Frankie Walk to pick up the XP by that energy door. And it
Right.
doesn't look like we're going to be seeing that, but
That's interesting you say that. That's one that's easy to... No, it looks like Shed is doing that.
Shed is definitely doing that, and Brynhold, on the other hand, is going to go straight down to Blackroot.
Which is not necessarily a bad call. This is 1 pickup, and given the nature of Randomizer, it could be something super important, but it does take a little while to get over there. And also, who knows, maybe Bryn finds Charge Jump or something and can get here much more quickly.
Right,
I guess
that's
we'll
a good point. So,
find out momentarily.
Yeah. And it is going to be 37 experience. So unfortunately, Shed's going to lose a little bit of time to that, because that doesn't actually help him progress in any way. So Brynhold's going to have a Frankie Walk lead over Shed and Blackroot here.
Right. You might want to direct your attention, generally speaking, towards your left screen, Brynhold, at the moment, since because Shed opted to go check the other pickup, Bryn is going to be, barring a death, is going to be slightly ahead just for a little while here. So if he gets pickups, you'll likely see it on the left side of your screen first. Bryn did get the experience orb at the top of Blackroot, and it was an energy cell, which can be pretty nice. Energy cells are not only just nice to have in general, but are required to get through some energy doors. And so the more of them you get, the better.
Shed taking a death there. He's going to get reset to the start of Blackroot, so that's more of a lead for Brynhold right now.
Yeah. Oh, and climb from Brynhold. Interesting. That's not common to see in Blackroot Burrows, because in order to traverse Blackroot at all, you usually get either wall jump or climb. There are other variations as well, but it's usually either wall jump or climb. Since they already had wall jump, climb is it's not useless exactly, but it's a little bit useless. At least at the moment.
Useless until they pick up like either charge jump or charge jump grenade or something like that.
Right. I think that for me, one of the most interesting things, about randomizers is how you can use these different combinations of skills to access areas in totally unique ways that you would never think of. Like in all skills, there's no reason why you would do a climb charge jump rather than stomp. But in Randomizer, you might do that pretty frequently.
That's a good point. So Shed's going to pick up climb here. Meanwhile, Brynhold is going to be moving on to the dash room and just going through these platforms.
Making a save, which is a smart choice. When you get a skill tree, all your energy gets restored anyway. And this isn't a room, the dash room, that is common to die in, but it's also pretty easy to die in if you accidentally mess up a jump and get lasered. Looks like Bryn opting to take the extra 1 or 2 seconds and just drop the orb on the next platform rather than doing the quick little jump.
I think that's a good call. Shed is going down to check this ability cell here.
Interesting. I've never done that with the orb. I always do it after.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about this. Because now he's gonna have to go... Oh!
Wow. That's
I see what he's
unexpected.
going for.
Double dashes, ladies and gentlemen. In
Double
the flesh.
dashes are very good.
That is an unexpected but very, very solid strategy. Ordinarily, that little extra ability cell... By the way, I'll hold off my thought, actually. I want to see what dash is. Dash tree is 16 experience. It's garbage.
But we have to get it.
True, you do have to get it anyway. And then we'll also likely see Bryn going and grabbing this map stone to the right, which is technically a sequence break since you're supposed to need dash to get through these, but you can pretty easily just run over the top.
198 experience.
Right. Not a skill, but this early in the game, getting those large experience pickups can be pretty nice, though. It's nice to have a handful of ability points when you need them.
That's true, and it can also actually tell you a little bit about the seed depending on how you're getting it. If you get it in a sort of unintended way, those large experience pickups can sometimes tell you that the way you're supposed to get there isn't going to show up for a little while. Because the XP values are going to be weighted more towards being smaller early and larger late. And that's not always the case.
That's interesting.
That's not always the case, but like if you see a 400 or 500 experience pickup from underwater and you don't have clean water, you can be relatively certain that you're not going to find it.
Right. We saw Brynhold do a save anywhere in order to glitch the boulder to survive, because he didn't really have the climbing skills he probably wanted to avoid it naturally. Now he'll be going. We'll see if he uses the Frankie to break the boulder, which is another small sequence break. Yeah, it is a sequence break.
Yeah. Fortunately, his Frankie didn't die there. It looked like he was gonna dunk himself in spikes.
So as expected, at the current point in this race, we do see Shed a little bit behind Brynhold, partly because of the death that Shed took in early Blackroot. That certainly cost him some time, but also because he went out of his way to check that pickup with the Frankie sort of on the routes that you would take for Frankie Walk.
Yeah, and as well as the pickup, the ability cell in Blackroot.
Right, that too.
Brynhold picks up his 4th energy cell, so it looks like he's going to be heading through the Death Gauntlet here.
Right, this is also a little bit unusual. It's, I think, quite a bit more common to get your 2 keystones and go to the left door. Obviously, in this seed, they don't have the keystone, so that's not an option. Brynhold also taking what is, in my opinion, a pretty smart move. He opened the door and then went back down here to save and restore his energy, since using all his energy to open the door means he can't save.
Yeah, that's a good point.
This is
going that way.
Well, he's going to get the Frankie. He wants to check that thing on the way. This is some very intelligent routing, actually.
Yeah. I actually like this.
Me too.
It's the Frankie follows him.
Well, it's like you said. I don't know how big a fan I am of checking that ability cell down in BRB early, but apart from that, or was it Shed who did that?
That was Shed.
Oh, okay. So never mind. Disregard what I'm saying. But I like this routing choice from Bryn. Of course, he couldn't really have known prior to going into BRB that he was going to get energy cells rather than keystones. Now that he has them, it's a smart move to open the door and then bring the Frankie over, since you're going to have to head back towards the door after saving anyway.
That's a good point, and he picks up that 37 experience, same as Shed did. So he's going to be heading into the Death Gauntlet now. Let's hope he gets this pickup over here. He's going for it, he remembered.
Right, so we'll see what kind of pickups he gets. A map stone. Ooh, that's valuable.
That's very, very valuable indeed. Unfortunately, it looks like his Frankie dunked there, so he can't check the underwater pickup.
We've talked about this in multiple rando races, and I'm sure many people watching are already very familiar with Randomizer, but for anyone who might not be, how do the map stones work?
That's a good point. The way that the map stones work in Randomizers is that when you insert a map stone into the map pedestal, it's going to give you another pickup, just like your regular keystones and experience orbs on the map do. But mapstones are unique in that they're what we call progressive. So you put one in and it doesn't matter where, and you'll get the mapstone 1 pickup. And then you put another one in at some other location, again, it doesn't matter where, and you'll get mapstone 2. So that way it doesn't really matter where you put your mapstones in, you just have to do it.
Right. We did just see Brynhold put in his first mapstone. He has made his way down to Grotto, and Shed is on his way. I'm sure that Shed will be checking all the same pickups along his route that Brynhold did. Brynhold, unfortunately, didn't have an ability cell up at the top where Gumo drops you through that platform, so he wasn't able to sort of take the early check on the water vein, like the vanilla water vein pickup and the experience orb. He just had to drop down. I doubt that'll be too costly for him, but he'll have to sort of make his way up.
That is a good point. And he also wasn't able to check the ability cell for the same reason.
Right, and it looks like Shed does have an ability point, so he will be able to check this, and he's going to level up in rep right now. So he'll have even another one, which is nice. Also interesting that Brynhold opted to go check the mini-boss. Generally speaking in Randomizer, given that it's random, you want to use probability to your advantage, so you want to check item-dense areas, and ideally just check items as quickly as you can. And the mini-boss has 2 items associated with it. There's a map stone sort of on the left side, and then there's the mini boss itself, which after you beat it leads to a keystone. And that's only 2 pickups, but you have to beat a mini boss along the way, and it's kind of slow. So it is something that is intelligent to check, but I don't know about you. I usually try to check it a little bit later if I can help it.
Brynhold.
That's very, very nice.
So we have all of the vertical movement over here.
Oh man, he's short on keystones.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Hopefully he'll find one at this energy cell up here.
I hope so. That's. I don't know if that was a sort of an oversight by Brynhold. It's something that in a vanilla gameplay, even like a casual playthrough, or especially for the all skills runs, you never need to think about keystones. You just do the route, and you always have the keystones that you need. That's not the case with Randomizer, and given that so many Randomizer runs are gated by skills, or you just can't find that next pickup that you need, it's pretty easy to forget about keystones, and so you might do what Bryn is doing here and come all the way down to the door and just sort of have to turn around. It's very easy to forget.
Meanwhile, we saw Shed going over to check the water vein and Rocks XP. I'm not totally sure what they were because I was focusing on Brynhold not having keystones. Shed did check them.
Now here's another interesting thing. It looks like Brynhold is going the top route to check those 2 experience orbs before going left side. I guess that does kind of make sense. Without double jump, it can be a little bit tricky to traverse, although he does have grenade and bash, which means that he has all the verticality that he needs, and he has the ability to break plants now.
That's a good point. The plants is going to be really important because we don't want to have to do grotto revisits. That's like the worst thing ever. There are 3 plants on the bottom of grotto on the left side, and if you don't have a way to break them, and one of them has something important, you're going to have to find that explosion skill later and come all the way back, and it just feels really, really bad.
Right. I guess it's another energy cell for Brynhold. Not incredibly valuable at this point, but I mean, it certainly doesn't hurt. And now he is checking the left side, which I guess is another good routing decision. He also knew that he had to check that falling cell, the one that bridges Grotto and BRB, so it kind of made sense to go up to the top and drop down first.
That's a good point, and it looks like instead of going to double jump, Shed has actually opted to go to left glades.
Interesting.
I think I like this decision, actually, because there's a lot more pickups over here.
Now, did Shed do fake flippers? I don't think I saw him do it, unless I missed it.
I think so.
Because I want to say, and don't quote me on this, and I guess Truck, you can tell me if I'm totally off base here, but I'm pretty sure that Shed had an extra keystone before Brynhold did, which means that where Brynhold ended up being stuck at the 2 keystone door, Shed has one early, and he didn't end up going to double jump. He turned around and went to glades, but he was able to do that because he already had 2 keystones, and Brynhold didn't.
That's a good point. But I think I like this choice from Shed because there's only 2 pickups behind the double jump door, and there's many, many more than that over on this side of glades.
Right.
So,
well, and now
go back anyways.
Mm-hmm. And now, given that the requirements, by the way, wind restored for Brynhold, they don't have feather yet, but hopefully they'll find it at some point, at which point wind restored will be very, very nice. And
flame.
Shed, nice.
So Shed has a way to blow up those plants now.
He does, right? Because Shed hasn't found grenade yet, has he?
And I think that was probably why he abandoned grottos, because he hadn't found grenade, and he knew that he was going to have to do a revisit anyways.
That's a good point. That's probably why. It is a little unfortunate, not that Shed could know this, but there is the experience orb sort of up and right from wall jump that you either, well, you need some better verticality. You can get there with charge jump, you can get there with grenades and bashing. So when Brynhold goes to wall jump, which it seems like he's on his way, he'll be able to get that, and maybe it's something valuable. But Shed cannot.
That's a good point. So we'll see what that is pretty soon, I imagine.
We'll also see Brynhold. Well, I guess they had bash anyway, so they could get up to this. They're getting a lot of experience.
I think that Shed came up here and checked that.
Okay, yeah, that would make sense for him, especially given Shed's experience. I doubt that he would miss that. It looks like Brynhold is going the bottom route to Charge Flame, the Charge Flame tree, I should say, which is interesting because there is a barricade blocking your exit out of this area, which means that unless you get Charge Jump, you're going to have to either Alt-R or turn around.
That's true.
So it's not a bad decision to go up here. It's just sort of a strategic gamble. I guess if you were going to Alt-R anyway, it does make sense to get it out of the way early.
Yep.
These are the things you have to think about when you're doing Randomizer. There's all these little calculations.
Absolutely. And it looks like Shed is making the choice to go to left blades here. There's,
another good choice.
5 or 6 pickups over here? I think 5.
Well, especially with Bash, you can just traverse this so quickly.
Definitely. Mapstone for Brynhold.
I wonder if we're going to get something from a late Mapstone.
That would certainly be interesting. I don't think there can be anything really significant past 5 or 6, though.
Right. But even then, there's 4 on the right side, and then another one near Stomp, so 5 on the right side. But getting to Swamp, unless you're going to do some crazy damage boost strats, requires Clean Water or Charge Jump.
True.
and stomp or climb, I guess.
The truck's informing us that glide can be on map 7.
Okay, so worst case scenario, we could get glide at mapstone 7. On the one hand, I hope that doesn't happen. On the other hand, I kind of hope it does.
That would be hilarious.
It would be hilarious.
I'm not sure if either of them would find it.
Well, it's one of those things where it's like, it's a randomizer, so you don't know where things are. So in theory, like, what if you get the, what if one of these trees had the Gumon seal? They're still not going to go to Forlorn for quite a while because it's really slow. Even though, for all they know, like, the first pickup in Forlorn Ruins could be something very, very valuable. But at the same time, you just have to weigh your odds. And it can be sort of frustrating after the fact if you realize that there was something valuable at one of those spots and you think, man, I should have just checked that. But, like, the reality is that without any prior knowledge, you have to just do it based on statistics. That's about all you can do.
Yeah, definitely. So Shed coming up on the Charge Flame tree, so that's gonna put both of our runners in pretty similar spots right now.
Mm-hmm.
So
looks like Shed, by the way, opted to do a save glitch, which is smart. Skip the little animation. Brynhold, by the way, just picked up Charge Flame as well. Won't be super impactful since he already has Grenade, but it's nice to have. So what are you thinking? You're one of the organizers of this tournament. You have more randomizer experience than I do. What do you think your next move would be if you were either Shed or Brynhold? What's their most important target right now?
I think I'd be doing something similar to what Shed is doing, heading towards Thornfelt Swamp and Hollow Grove, because there's a lot of things there, and that's, like, we're still looking for things like Stomp and Glide in order to really be able to break open the left side of the map.
Right.
At least in the intended way of doing it. It is, of course, possible to get over there without Stomp and do left side without Glide, but I don't think we'll be seeing that unless they get really desperate.
No, it's a giant pain, especially when there's still rather large areas of the world that haven't been explored yet, like the area that Shed's in right now. Makes a lot more sense to go check them.
It's definitely true. So Shed, of course, still missing Grenade, so if something is behind, like the Grenade door over here in Thornfelt Swamp, Shed will actually miss that pickup because he hasn't picked up Grotto yet.
There is one nice thing, which is I've been seeing them pick up more Keystones. Keystones are, as I mentioned when Bryn was trying to get towards the double jump, are an important consideration for Randomizer that is easy to forget about. And early game, by the way, another mapstone for Brynhold. Early game, Keystones aren't that important. You need, like, 2 of them here and there. But throughout the course of the run, you need actually a whole bunch of them. You need 4 to get to Charge Jump. You need 4 to get to Bash. You need, well, if you end up finishing Misty Woods, you need another 4. So there's all these doors that require Keystones. And so at some point in the run, you have to start deciding, am I going to try to dupe them? Am I going to go search for more? I don't think they're quite at that point yet, but they may get there.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that they're at the point of needing to dupe Keystones right now. I think it's relatively reasonable to think that that they wouldn't bother doing that until Sorrow Pass.
Right. Mostly they just have so many pickups to get. And because they have a Grenade, there's all these doors throughout the world that are gated behind a Grenade switch. And so having Grenade just allows you to 100% complete areas that otherwise you'd have to return to later.
That's a good point, though, of course, Shed does not have Grenade.
That is true. So maybe disregard what I said, or at least from Shed's perspective.
So he will not be able to check a few things because of that, such as that Grenade door that we just saw him pass by, and also the ability cell over here.
Now, I'm gonna double check exactly where Grenade was so I don't misspeak. Grenade was the keystone by the Crushers to double jump.
We have Stomp from Brynhold.
Oh my goodness.
And he was able to check that because he had Grenade. So Shed is really not in a good spot unless he revisits Grotto.
Right. I mean, he ended up leaving Grotto because he, as you described, decided that there was a higher density of pickups in Glades than if he had tried to go towards double jump, and it's just unfortunate for him that grenade ended up being over there, especially because now it's going to gate him from Stomp for a little while.
That's true. So I think it'll be really interesting to see how Shed adapts to this, to not having grenade or not having Stomp, whether or not he ends up deciding to revisit Grotto soon and finds those things, or just in general how long it takes him to do that.
Right. I mean, he does have Charge Flame now, so if he previously left because of plants, now he can go back. And he's an experienced enough randomizer player that I'm sure, hasn't forgotten about the fact that left Glades exists. And, well, Grotto, I mean, excuse me, and right Glades exists for that matter.
And he doesn't have a map stone, and he might be trying to use the frog to get up through Iceless. Looks like that's what he's doing. I like that.
Agreed.
And
Glide. Shed found Glide. That's very valuable, especially because we already know where Wind Restored is, although I don't know if Shed has gotten it. Have they both gotten it?
I don't think the Shed has it.
I don't think he has it either. I know Brynhold found it, but I don't recall if Brynhold got Feather.
Truck is saying that Shed does not have Wind Restored.
Okay, I didn't think so. That would certainly open up, well, a little bit.
Just a bit. But as we saw, because he doesn't have that vertical movement, he passed by the location for the Stomp pickup just a minute ago. So I wonder if he's gonna remember that exists and go back for it after he has vertical movement, or if we're gonna end up seeing him go Stompless.
That is a very good question. Also, look at what Shed is doing here to try to get to the 200 experience orb. I didn't even know this was possible.
I don't know if you can actually bait the shot to a good position without double bashes.
Thankfully,
And
double bashing saved the day.
Yeah, he's gonna get an ability cell for his troubles.
Right. Still neither of them with double jump, by the way. Something that is not required to complete the seed, but man, it is nice to have.
Oh, absolutely. I've always thought that their double jump is optional, but it's one of the best luxury pickups in the game in randomizers.
Right. Agreed. Brynhold, by the way, does have Stomp, and he decided to go left and check Horror Fields. It doesn't look like he's advancing any further into it, especially because he doesn't have Glide. If he had Glide, maybe he would make a different decision, given that there's a bunch of pickups over there.
I think that's a good point. It looks like he's heading towards where Glide is right now.
Yep, so he'll be getting that momentarily. Maybe we'll even see him turn around.
That would definitely be an interesting choice, though I'm not sure I would like it too much. Brynhold is actually in a position where to go to the left side of the map and start checking trees and looking for keys. Because
Yep, and there's Glide as expected.
Because he's already got all the abilities that he needs to complete the game.
Right. That is very, very true. Also, obvious statement, but just to reiterate that no matter what skills they may or may not want to get, these guys do need both the Water Vein and the Sunstone, and since we're playing the Limit Keys version of the randomizer, those pickups are guaranteed to be at one of the major events, which could be a skill tree or finishing an escape sequence or a vanilla pickup. And they've already exhausted some of them, although there's a bunch of trees on the left side, so there's a pretty good likelihood that at least one of those two are going to be one of the skill trees, but maybe not. We'll find out.
It looks like Brynhold actually has double jump. I'm not entirely sure where he got it.
Double jump from the map.
Certainly has it. Oh.
That is going to be very, very useful. Thank you, as always, to our truck for helping us out when we miss things.
Absolutely, and a very valuable safety save from Brynhold, making sure that he doesn't die to the instant kill spikes.
Shed just found Wind Restored down near the Rolling Crushers, and he does have Feathers, so that'll open up a few things to him, although it won't be too impactful. What he really needs is Grenade. Shed is definitely falling behind at this point.
I think that's a good point. He needs Grenade really badly right now in order to start making progress.
He does, and it's tricky because, one, even after he gets Grenade, that opens up a bunch of different pickups, and we know where Stomp is. He does not. And so where Stomp is not going to be the first thing that he checks, I think.
I agree. I don't think that he has much reason to go back there. It's possible that we might see it, but I think it's less likely than other locations.
Right, and so not only does Shed still need to find Grenade, which he'll get in a moment here. He'll go
about
get
to
that
get
keystone. He will turn around and go left, right? Yes.
Yes.
All right, so he'll be happy to see Grenade. But he's still going to have to go through and get those skills if he wants to. Shed, well, neither of them need to get Stomp. You can do a trick with the Frankie and Bash to get into left side without Stomp, but Stomp is like any skill. It's just really nice to have. It makes your life quite a bit easier.
Oh,
That's a rough death.
Oh, that's really,
really rough death. Holy cow.
Yeah, he had the energy to save there. That's so unfortunate.
You know what sucks about that is that's a vanilla spot too. Doing those series of jumps down to double jump. I'm sure he didn't save because he thought, I've done it a million times, I don't need to save. Just accidentally, had a brush with the spikes.
That is really unfortunate.
Yeah.
But he should know. He knows what he needs to get. He knows that XP in the Crushers isn't anything.
He does indeed. Meanwhile, we see Brynhold watching the another death. Ouch. This is yeah, that's got to be a little frustrating. Anyway, Brynhold watched the Spirit Tree cutscene to activate the Hologrove teleporter, and he went back down to BRB. I expected him to go left side. Oh, maybe he... I'm a little confused. He doesn't have dash.
He might just be trying to head on to Light Grenade right now. Yes.
He might be. You can do the sort of feather triple jump trick. Interesting choice to go down there, though, given that he has so many options on the left side.
If he's comfortable doing this trick, that it's a good call. Because this is something that you have to check no matter what. And if Sunstone is here, and he gets in there first try, really good job from Brynhold there. But I think, as I was saying, if he's able to find Sunstone here, then that really limits what he has to do on the left side of the map significantly more.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
If he goes over there and he doesn't have Sunstone, and Sunstone turns out to be here at Light Grenade, then he's gonna have to go check the Gumon Seal, Vanilla Sunstone, as well.
There is one...
Same thing applies to Water Vein.
Right. There is one sort of consideration that I'm thinking about, and I hope I don't curse anything by saying this. I'm correct in saying that Brynhold hasn't been to the double jump tree, right? Because he had to turn around?
Yes, you are correct.
Now, at this point in the run, especially given that in all skills you go to double jump so early, it's possible that he might just be thinking, I need to get Light Grenade and then I need to go left side and get everything, and he might even forget about double jump. Maybe I'm completely off base and he knows exactly what he's doing. But I guess if it were me, that would be a risk, and so I wonder where we're going to see Brynhold go next.
That's a good point. I would like to see him check double jump and possibly check stomp as well, because those are the one-offs that you have to do anyways. And then hopefully, well, we know that he's not going to find anything with double jump, but just in terms of his routing, I think it would be better to check the one-offs that you have to do anyways. That limits whether or not you really have to check those optional events like Sunstone and Gumon Seal.
I agree. I mean, at the end of the day, it's really down to one thing, is how can you check the most pickups as quickly as you can? And given that now he's hunting for keys, it's how can you hit the trees and the major world events as quickly as you can. That's really the only name of the game.
And sure enough, he's heading down towards double jump right now, so he'll pick up his energy cell and be sad that it's not Sunstone or Water Vein.
By the way, remember that double jump was from the third map altar, and I think we're seeing Shed go do that right now. He activated 2, and he's on his way to the third. So he'll be very happy to see that.
So Shed may or may not. Looks like he's going to be going through the Death Gauntlet again. So hopefully we'll see him picking up Stomp on his way through this area.
Right, this is an interesting situation for Shed. He knows that he can get to the left side of the map and he can do quite a bit, but he doesn't have charge jump. And he doesn't have dash. And so for all he knows, I mean, maybe dash is one of these quick pickups, and that could save him a huge amount of time over the rest of the run, going through Misty Woods and Sorrow Pass and all those silly areas on the other side of the map.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm hoping to see him go check that stomp pickup here. It looks like he's heading in that direction.
Good. I hope it's dash, I really do.
Meanwhile, Brynhold is going to head towards Valley, and Shed finds Stomp.
Yes. Good job, Shed. I believed in you. Unfortunately, nothing from the plant whatsoever. Has Shed explored Valley entrance? I mean, now he can just go into Valley for real, but did he check the entrance?
I don't know. I assume that he's probably going to be heading there right now. Maybe not. He's heading back to Swamp.
Interesting. I guess it's not that... Actually...
That might be his closest teleporter.
To, well, it might be, actually. I was gonna say, he can't get into Swamp yet. He doesn't have charge jump, and he doesn't have enough health to survive the water. At least I don't think he has enough health, even if he wanted to do it that way.
Oh man, Brynhold killing his bird there, so he's not going to be able to check that cell. That's a little bit unfortunate.
Do you think that you would keep searching if you were Brynhold, or would you just start rushing to the end?
I think that I would just start rushing events right now. The little one-off pickups like that, like, it doesn't hurt to check.
Right, they're so quick.
Maybe it's dash, maybe it's charge jump, things like that.
By the way, Brynhold is opting to not go for fast stompless. He's just going and stomping the rock as usual, which is a perfectly fair decision. Fast stompless does save time, but also it can be a pretty precise shot, and also it's harder to do without dash because you have to get out of the way fast enough to unload the rock before the projectile hits the rock.
I agree with that. Though I think in terms of what he still needs to check, I would have preferred to see him not check Feather yet, and go up towards Sorrow. Check that.
I forget that you can do that before coming down to Feather.
Yes, it's especially easy with Wind.
Right. It is nice that they have Wind. They don't have to do Sorrow Bash this time.
But I think it would have just been a little bit better because he's gonna probably have to check Sunstone anyways. Since he doesn't have any keys, but coming up there that way.
That's right.
You don't have to float all the way up.
My God, I forgot about the keystones. He does have 6 keystones.
The dungeon keys, I meant.
Oh, those keys.
Yeah, he doesn't have Gumon
Right.
Sunstone or Water Vein yet.
Right. On the other hand, though, going up to Sunstone does take a little while, and if you have to come back here later to go to Sunstone, it doesn't take that long to flood up with
This is an
Wind.
interesting strategy that he made. Okay,
Oh no, the frog fell off. He can't do a rocket jump. He doesn't have dash.
Yeah, so I think what he's trying to do is juggle the frog up and then stomp on its head.
No, I think he's trying to do an old vanilla strat actually, where you can juggle him up and there's a little micro ledge he can get stuck on the side and shoot at you.
Really?
Yep.
I didn't know about that. I've seen people do the stomp.
It's finicky as all heck,
stomp
but
the frog.
Yeah, I'm sure stomping the frog would work too. I guess that would have to be pretty precisely timed as well.
Oh, it looks like he almost got it.
This was back in my day. We didn't have rocket jump. Looks like he's going to keep trying it. I wonder. You know, at this point, he might have even saved time just going the long route. Although, yep, there it is. There's the micro ledge.
Micro ledge. That's.
Isn't that crazy?
That's really crazy. I didn't know about that.
Yep.
It's the things you know from vanilla.
By the way, whereas Brynhold opted to skip Fast Stompless, Shed went for it and succeeded, so that'll help him catch up a little bit. Of note is that, let's see, so I mean, he just picked up Feather. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Shed has not been till the Light Grenade tree, and Brynhold has. So Shed is absolutely sort of catching up to Brynhold. I think it's still fair to say that Brynhold is ahead. Also looks like Brynhold is duping keys, which I think is a smart choice.
And it also looks like Shed is going to Light Grenade. And again,
yes.
In a vacuum, I like this choice. We know that Light Grenade's not anything, but Shed doesn't, and he wants to check it because it's a one-off that he has to do anyways.
Agreed. I wonder how many keystones Brynhold is going to dupe. There is a minimum amount that you need for the rest of the run, but there's also a question of, as I said, if you have to go to the end of Misty, you need 4 more. If you end up having to go through Forlorn, you need 4 more. And this is a pretty fast duplication, so it's a gamble of spending the time to dupe now versus going and finding them later.
That's a good point, and I think it's reasonable to get up to the point where you can go through the things that you're pretty sure that you're going to have to do. I wouldn't even worry about the keystones in Forlorn personally, because odds are that you're going to pick up random things along the way and get more keystones.
I agree. You can also dupe in Forlorn.
Yeah, you can dupe in Forlorn. So I think the call is to get 16 there, which is 4 for Sorrow, 4 for potentially Misty, and 8 for Genso. Just in case.
I agree, because it's a relatively quick dupe. I agree. Just peace of mind kind of thing.
Right, and then you pick. You're pretty likely to pick up the extra 2 for Stomp, or to not have to go somewhere and be fine. And then if you do have to go to Forlorn, you can do there.
Looks like Brynhold is the first to make his way into Misty. He'll, I'm sure, not go out of his way to check everything, but he'll check the quick pickups out of his way just in case there's something very nice like Charge Jump. But I expect otherwise we'll see him just rush the tree, and that'll be the end of it.
I think he's also going to finish Misty as well at this point.
That would make sense.
There's still no dungeon keys that have been found yet.
That is true.
There's a lot of things left to find, and not that much map left.
It's a very good point.
So,
well, also, the thing about Misty is that, as compared to some other areas of the game, there's no teleporter in the middle of Misty Woods. So even though to complete the seed, if you had the dungeon keys that you needed, you would just have to get to the climb tree and then go on your merry way. If you went to the climb tree and then backed out, you would have to come and complete the first half of Misty Woods again, which is obviously pretty slow. So I agree that Brynhold will, well, almost definitely be completing it, because even if he gets Waterbane or Sunstone, he still doesn't have the other one.
That's true. So it's not like he could hit go mode off of the climb tree here. By go mode, if you're not familiar with the term, what I mean is you have all the skills that you need to complete the game, and you have both the Water Vein and the Sunstone, because those are the 2 keys that you need in order to finish the run.
If you look at the right side of your screen, sorry to interrupt you, Shed is opting for a different way to get through that roof rather than doing the micro ledge frog approach, which Shed might just not even be aware exists. He's doing sort of another older strat where you can squeeze through that little gap and break it open. He also got more pickups out of the way, although I don't think he got anything valuable out of it.
It doesn't look like it. And meanwhile, on the left side of the screen, you see Brynhold has actually just picked up Sunstone.
Very, very valuable. That's one of 2 key pickups that he needs. It's also, it's possible, unlikely, but it's possible that Waterbane is at the end of Forlorn, at which point they would need the 3rd dungeon key as well, but, well, he has one of 2 that he needs, and that's got to be comforting.
So that means it is possible he finds Waterbane at the end of Misty. Well, okay, so now because we're only missing Waterbane, the potential locations have just gone down drastically. It can basically only be at Stomp, Sunstone, or Gumon Seal now, unless I'm missing something. Well,
I'm gonna go ahead and trust your logic on that.
It can't be at Clean Water or Bash, because those both require Water Vein to get to. Shed is coming up on Vanilla Sunstone here, so we'll see whether or not this is Water Vein. If it is, then Shed is actually in a pretty good position, because Brynhold is going to have to go all the way back, and he didn't get the Sorrow teleport, which means he has to float up, because they don't have rocket jumps.
Well, not only will he have to float up, but he's definitely going to go to the Stomp Tree first. Although I guess that's not a loss, because Shed is also going to have to go over to Swamp.
That's a good point.
Looked like the Sunstone didn't pay off, though.
Yeah.
Still the correct choice by Shed to go check it, but it just didn't bear fruit.
No.
Or bear a key, I guess.
No Water Vein for Shed. So he is still desperately searching here. We know he's not going to find anything at Charge Jump. We'll find Sunstone when he gets to through Misty and gets to the Climb Tree. So I'm going to be curious to see what ends up happening there.
This is, it's so interesting to me, like, watching randomizers or commentating them or playing them for that matter, because even though it's so random, you can predict with pretty good certainty what people are going to do, because oftentimes it's like, you know, despite all the randomness, there's sort of one correct choice. Like we mentioned with Brynhold. Now we know that Sunstone was a climb, but even before we knew that, it's like he's going to get climb and then he's going to finish Misty, because that's the correct choice here. both of these players would make it statistically. That's going to give you the best odds at completing the seed as quickly as you can.
That's true. Meanwhile, Shed did a little bit of key duping, and then he's heading towards to pick up the charge jump tree. He's going to get his map stone from that, and carry on.
Brynhold, meanwhile, on the left side, is carrying the Gumon Seal and walking nice and slow. He did pick up Ultra Defense just for, I guess, a bit of extra safety. Can't hurt. They're actually pretty low on health for how much energy they have. One of the side effects of Randomizer is that you tend to get a ton of extra energy cells and health cells just from grabbing random pickups, but I guess not on this seed when it comes to health.
Apparently not. It's possible that Brynhold has a mega energy right now.
That's true.
His energy is so high.
Oh, I think you're right.
Mega energy is, for those unfamiliar, being just a +5 to your maximum that is temporary. Once you use it, it goes away.
Brynhold's not skipping the, I don't know what you call this cutscene, the Gumon Seal cutscene.
Gumon Seal cutscene is what I call it.
Well, because, like, you know, we have the Darkness cutscene in Blacker Burrows. This is just the, whatever, it's a cutscene, and Brynhold is...
It's a cutscene and he's not skipping it.
Yes, those are the two important bullet points. We'll see what this is. It might be Water Vein, it might be nothing, it might be Vanilla Gumon Seal.
Vanilla Gumon Seal, please.
What's it gonna be? It's Vanilla Gumon Seal. Oh my goodness.
We're going to Forlorn.
By the way, pay attention to the right side. It looks like Shed presumably has Ultra Defense and is going to try to get into this area early.
We might be going to Forlorn. If Water Vein isn't at the Stomp Tree.
Well, Brynhold also hasn't checked the Sunstone.
Right.
So he might go do that first. Oh, he did it!
He made
nice job, Shed.
Good job. It was, I think, a combination of Ultra Defense and health regen to save him there.
I want him to make a save, though. He's giving me
Please make
anxiety.
A save, Shed. Please save.
Dude, watching these races is more stressful than playing them. Like, every single pickup, there's this little moment of anticipation.
I was getting a little bit stressed out earlier.
Thankfully, he has Grenade and Bash, so we can just sort of get back out of that. And Brynhold's taking the same approach. That's interesting. It's a smart move, though, because he only has a handful of more places where Water Vein could be, and he knows that no matter what happens, he has to hit the Stomp Tree. And since it could be Stomp, it makes sense to go here first. Smart play.
So, we're in basically the same position right now.
It's not the Stomp Tree.
Except
oh boy.
This is a Forlorn Seed now.
Is it guaranteed Forlorn Seed?
Water Vein, I believe, is guaranteed to be at Winter Stored right now because they've picked up every other event.
Right, between the two of them. Now, individually, they don't know that it has to be Forlorn, but we know that.
So I think, I think Brynhold is pretty solidly ahead right now.
I would agree with that. If you look at his tracker, he has every single tree except for Bash, which of course he can't get to because it doesn't have the Water Vein, whereas Shed still needs to go into Misty Woods, and he will probably complete the whole thing. I mean, he
I would
pretty much definitely will.
Thing. The only thing that Shed sort of has going for him is if Brynhold decides to go and check Sunstone first.
I would expect him to be honest. I mean, it won't take too long to get there. They still don't have Dash, so they can't do charge dashing, but with Feather and a billion jumps, it won't take too long. No, he's going down.
So I think that means Brynhold is going to be very difficult to catch here.
I agree. That's an interesting choice. I would not have expected him to do that. Forlorn is usually the last place that you go.
Absolutely, but at this point, like, it's, you know, I actually kind of like it thinking about it because it takes a while to get the Sunstone because he hasn't broken the roof.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't have a way to skip the laser, which means he has to go all the way through left Sart in order to do that. So I think this is faster.
It takes a while to get through here, though.
Though it's not. I think with Bash Grenade, it allows you to skip most of the difficult parts of Forlorn. You don't have to pay any attention to the gravity puzzles. You can just sort of go straight toward the key door.
Now, not that I disagree with anything you've said, but I think he's going to Forlorn for a different reason. I think he's going there because he's facing Shed. It's sort of something that we talked about in some other seeds where Of course, neither of these players can see any chat. They can't see the other person's stream. They have to do the seed in isolation, obviously, because if they didn't, they would get some unfair extra information. But what they can see is the SRL chat, which means they know whether or not the other person is finished. Brynhold knows that he is the 16 seed facing the number 1 seed, so he knows how good Shed is at Randomizer, and knows that if Shed hasn't finished, that there's a decent likelihood that Shed has already checked a lot of the sort of things that you would check before Forlorn, like the Sunstone. And so maybe he's just gambling and saying, if Shed's not finished, that means there's a higher likelihood that it ends up being in the last place that Shed is going to check Forlorn Ruins.
That's actually a good point. I hadn't really thought about that. So we know once Brynhold gets up here, he's gonna pick up the Water Vein. And if Shed, well, actually Shed has to finish Misty because it was Vanilla Gumon Seal.
Yep, he
doesn't
has
have
to.
a choice.
Yep, and he'll be doing that anyway. Yeah.
Yep. I think this is Brynhold's race to lose right now.
I agree. I mean, what else is there? There's the Forlorn Escape, right? That's
it.
That's where Water Vein is.
Yeah. And then from there, it's just going to the Bash Tree.
Right. So Brynhold knows he has one choice: finish Forlorn and then rush Bash and just finish the game as fast as possible. Interesting, by the way, that they don't have dash or charge jump. They're not required to beat the game or anything. It's just sort of unlucky and unusual to not have them at this point.
Yeah, but it's kind of one of those things. In this case, you sort of really hope that the other person didn't find them.
Yep. Yep, you do. By the way,
I really know.
I think Brynhold duped again.
I think
in
so.
Forlorn.
And I think Shed took a death too.
Mm-hmm. I am curious. Wait, no, I'm not. Never mind. I was going to say I'm curious why he key duped, but then I realized that that's not true. I'm not curious at all. It's obvious why he key duped.
To get into Genso.
Yes, that is why. So, oh boy, I don't think that Shed is going to be too pleased with this. Of course, he's hoping that the Water Vein is at the end of Misty, and he's hoping that Brynhold didn't check the end of Misty. But Shed's going to pick up Vanilla Gumon Seal, and he's going to do the math. He's going to realize that he had to go to Forlorn, and that's where he's going to go next. And he's going to have to hope that Brynhold didn't go there first, which, of course, we know that Brynhold is currently there.
So the only sort of fortunate thing for Shed is that he's already going to be at the Gumon. He can just go straight to Forlorn. There's no altaring or backtracking or teleporting or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Why is Shed checking this? I mean, okay, it's quad jump, but why are you checking this?
Maybe he figured it was just a quick pickup out of the way, and if it ended up being dash or something, that would save quite a bit of time. I think I would agree with you. Just sort of get through it at this point. It's dash.
Dash.
The little mouse movements of excitement.
So,
I don't think it's enough time to catch up.
I don't think it is
Brynhold
either.
messes up.
But oh wait, Brynhold's not safe glitching this escape. He's going to be doing the wind escape.
Do you have to do the wind escape to get the pickup at the end of it?
No, you get it as soon as you see the bridge in the cutscene. And
right.
Then you can save glitch. There it is, Water Vein.
So
at this point, he could save anywhere, glitch the cutscene, reload, and altar, and go straight to Genso. But he's not. He's going to be doing the wind escape. And
he doesn't have to do the wind escape. Can't he just altar when he gets control?
Yeah, you can altar out, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he can.
Yeah,
so he lost a bit of time there.
He lost a little bit of time. I don't know if that's going to be enough to let Shed catch up. Dash will help a lot, but not with carrying this orb.
I agree. By the way, can I just say, I love the color of aura that Shed is right now.
Oh, yeah. So, I guess the next sort of big question is how comfortable is Brynhold in the final escape without charge jump or dash?
Right, this is so fascinating. Brynhold unquestionably ahead. Shed will be finishing up his Gumon carrying journey quite soon. And then he'll get the Gumon Seal, he'll know what he has to do, he'll rush Forlorn as fast as possible. But Brynhold is not only done with Forlorn, he's in the tree. And especially since the tree is so vertical, dash doesn't help you that much. Shed is going to save a lot of time with dash just moving, traversing the land horizontally, but in the tree it won't save him that much.
That's a good point. So, I'm going to see Shed Shed is... He has a soul link there, so I thought he was going to skip this cutscene, but he didn't. So, looks like he's just waiting. The Gumon seal.
This is, it's like you said, this is Brynhold's race to lose. I think that Brynhold is too far ahead. I really wonder what they're both thinking. I'm always really fascinated with the mentality of these runners in these races and how stressed they may be feeling given that they can't know how the other person is doing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we know that Brynhold is ahead, but if I was Brynhold, I think I'd be a little bit, not panicked exactly, but I think I would be quite concerned, and I probably think Shed was pretty far ahead.
Well, at this point, how far ahead can Shed be? If you're from Brynhold's perspective. Like,
Right,
we're 52
given where it
minutes
ended up
in.
being.
Either Shed is about to finish, or he's behind. That's really it. And Shed's probably feeling the same way. Either Brynhold is about to finish, or he's really far behind.
Well, and I guess the other thing about it is that there's really no decisions to be made anymore, you know? Brynhold has one goal, get to the end of the game. He doesn't need to search, he doesn't need to make strategic routing decisions, he has to get to the stupid end of the escape and fry Kuro up in a pan. Shed is in a similar boat. He knows that he has to finish this, it has to be Water Vein, and then he knows what he has to do in the tree and in the escape sequence. So even though they might be feeling stressed, it doesn't necessarily affect anything about their run. They're just going to go as fast as they can, and that's all the more control they have over the situation.
Yeah, definitely. And so I wonder how much Shed has familiarized himself with skips in Forlorn as well, because he needs to do everything he can if he wants any chance. And he also has to rely on Brynhold making a couple mistakes in the final escape, I think.
He does. There's not that much that he can skip. I mean, he can skip that that cutscene when he activates the wind, but like he didn't skip the little cutscene when you pick up the orb, which is smart because the orb can, for whatever reason, kind of get stuck and not follow you if you skip the cutscene. So I think it's better to just not bother.
If you skip it too fast, then it doesn't like to follow you.
I think that we might be able to call this for Bryn, though. He's on his way to Horu. He doesn't have dash, but that won't affect him too badly. He just has to finish the escape. Shed needs a miracle.
Shed might also need to key dupe.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pull up the actual stream I have on my other monitor where I can read how many keystones he has. The answer is 7?
The answer is not 8.
The answer is not 8. That's what matters. Now he has 10 after some key duping, so now he's good to go, but I don't know if he could have caught up anyway, but that was some valuable time.
Definitely.
Brynhold on the left.
Save glitch on this cutscene either.
Brynhold on the left about to start his door warp. I don't know what our tournament average is offhand, but we'll see how well Brynhold can do it.
It's a low 2.
Sounds about right. Oh man.
This is going to be. I think it's
all right, not first try. Not first try.
I think it's third try.
I'm going to call second. He's going to get it this time. No, he's not. Maybe he'll get it third try.
Hey, third try door warp. Brynhold is almost done.
By the way, it looked like... Sorry to interrupt. It looked like Shed tried to do a save glitch on that cutscene, and I don't know if you can save glitch that one.
This one, no. We couldn't find a way to do this.
I don't know if Shed knows that you can't skip it. Presumably he does, because he didn't.
So I run all dungeons, so I sort of know how we skipped things in Forlorn a little bit. The way that we skipped this is by not even going into that room. Because it was just too annoying.
Don't need to skip the cutscene if you never trigger it. Brynhold has started his final escape. He does not have dash, but what he does have is grenades and bashes and good old-fashioned vanilla bash glides with... I think he only has triple jump. Shed was able to pick up the quad jump.
Shed checked some stuff in Misty. Shed is going to be safe glitching this win this game. Unfortunately, that is not the end of the game, so...
No, it is not. By the way, Brynhold cannot do fish strats or grenade jumping. He doesn't have dash for rocket jumping, and he doesn't have charge jump for grenade jumps. So he'll just be floating up like, I don't know, reverse Mary Poppins. Accurate.
Like trying not to spawn Kuro, but I think he's going to spawn Kuro.
Yep, he is. He's good, he's good.
He is quite fine here.
Assuming he does his bashes and doesn't miss all the rocks, he's good to go.
So this is actually Brynhold pulling out the victory here. 16th seed taking out #1 seed Shed. That is actually a decent upset.
It absolutely is, but it's what we talked about at the start is there is a lot of skill involved in Randomizer, but there's also a lot of luck. I mean, looking back at this race, it's hard to say that Shed did anything wrong. He just opted to... really, the major difference, I think, was that Shed early on happened to Alt-R and go check the left glades, whereas Brynhold went down towards double jump area, and that ended up getting Brynhold grenade earlier, which ended up getting him stomp earlier, and it just sort of cascaded from there. That's tricky, because Shed, like, to not go to double jump is statistically the right move.
Yeah, I agree. I think it wasn't a bad call, but I think had he checked that grenade pickup first, I think he would have been in a much better spot.
I agree. Well, either way, huge GG to Brynhold. Very well played. He made some... yes, it was partially down to luck, but that doesn't mean that he didn't make some very intelligent routing decisions and some just good old-fashioned randomizer judgment all around. I think he'll be very proud of that.
Absolutely. And hopefully we'll be able to get him in here for an interview.
Let's hope. But first, Shed needs to finish up. He finished Forlorn just fine. Now he's in the tree. Should be able to make short work of this mini-boss, especially with charge dashing. And he has an upgraded Spirit Flame as well. That's another nice thing about Randomizer, by the way, is in regular all skills, you never get to upgrade your Spirit Flame. You just get stuck with this dinky little pea shooter. Whereas in this thing, you get like massive like energy fists that get to punch everything. It's lovely.
Yep, and of course he didn't really use it there. I think that was a 4-cycle on that mini-boss.
Well, I mean, it's almost tricky too, because that boss likes to teleport away when you get close. So even though you have your powerful moves like charge dashing, sometimes it doesn't help as much as it might at first appear. 1 XP, that's just cruel.
That is just the only thing that could have been there.
Well, and you see Shed just flipping his mouse around, like that's the only way he can communicate, just saying, you know, RNG gods have cursed me.
The RNG gods have said no. 'Cause at this point, he should know. He knows that it's finished.
Well, anyway, Shed is good to go. He has every single skill tree, along with Feather and Spirit Flame. He has all the abilities, he needs to finish the escape, and he has all the keys, so he's just gonna rush to the end. It won't take him very long, Shed being a very skilled Ori player, as everyone in this tournament is. I don't anticipate him having any issues. We can make predictions on Door Warp, though, you know, Ori gambling circuit.
Of course, the obligatory guesses.
I'm gonna guess 2.
You're gonna guess 2?
I'm gonna guess 2. Brynhold got 3, he's gonna get 2.
I think Shed's gonna get first try.
Okay. Fant in the truck also guessing first try, so we've got 2 on first try. Chat, get your guesses in now before it's too late. Prime opportunity. Gamble away your life earnings on Door Warp. Remember when we had to used to, you know, do some of Horu?
I didn't run before, back when we used to do Horu.
That's okay, we still skipped like a lot of it.
First try. Good job,
Shed. That is a frame perfect trick at 60 FPS, so not a trivial feat.
Shed's gonna get one final pickup that is going to be absolutely useless to him no matter what it is.
What was it, by the way? I think I missed it with Brynhold.
I missed it, but we're about to see.
It is, well, a giant angry owl and an
the
energy cell.
Actually, that's useful.
It is. Additional charge dashes. Unlike Brynhold, Shed will be able to do fish strats, which he will probably do since he can't do grenade jump.
I would expect to see fish strats, so... Oh.
Especially because fish strats saves 7 hours on the run.
Definitely.
So, you know, it's a smart move to try.
You should always go for fish strats when you have the option.
Always.
I don't know why we ever got rid of him for grenade jump. Grenade jump saves 35 seconds.
As expected, double dashing the fish to bring it out. He'll position it above the fire. 3, 2, 1, blast off.
And he gets hit by the rock to finish it off.
Fair to call that the Sigma rock, after that one thing that happened?
I think that's fair.
You remember that, Sigma? Anyway, GG to Shed. His timer won't end just yet. He has to finish his input, which is holding right with Ori, and then holding right with Naru. He'll be coming in with a pretty solid. I think it's a very good randomizer time. It's just that, I mean, this is the second. Am I correct in saying this is the second seed in this tournament so far that's had something in Forlorn?
I believe
something
so.
important.
I believe so. Also, the truck is confirming that that is definitely the Sigma Rock.
Okay.
So, we are correct in calling it that.
Well, it didn't kill him, so that's nice. That's nice at the end of the run. Almost time for Shed. We'll be getting an interview with Brynhold once Shed finishes up, and then we'll just give quick closing thoughts and give you an update on when some upcoming matches are. Do we have? Well,
we don't actually.
We can talk about your rescheduled one, or at least what we may or may not know about it. But we'll do that after the interview.
Yeah.
That will do it for Shed.
Scheduled.
And we have Brynhold in here right away. First off, as always, congrats, Brynhold. That was a really solid run. It's like I hear you. I hear you cutting out a bit. We can figure this out.
Audio does work, we promise. We're just not sure how.
Mm-hmm. I blame the randomizer. Probably somehow just infected Discord.
Yeah, definitely.
Hello.
There you are. There you are.
Welcome.
The mic didn't work again, but
it sounds fine now. Yeah, congrats on your win. How are you feeling?
yeah, I was looking at the SRL the whole time during when I was walking into the goal.
Yep, I imagine I would be doing the same. I have one question I want to ask right off the bat, which is one of the most interesting things and arguably what clinched you the victory. I'm sure you can watch the VOD and see all the details, but what made you decide to go to Forlorn rather than Sunstone when you were looking for Water Vein towards the end?
I thought that, Shed hasn't finished the game yet, and I thought he was favorite to win, so I decided to take my chances, basically, and not have to deal with long juggle and such things. So
yeah, I think that was a very intelligent decision, and I mean, it ended up paying off, so that's icing on the cake.
Yeah, I was worried that we would have to go to Forlorn before the race because I haven't practiced any cutscene skips there. So, but
well, don't worry, because they're annoying and aren't super worth it.
Yeah. And I'm glad there was a grenade bash seed, because I found out a way to keybind, so it's not as annoying to do all the time.
I remember seeing that you talked about that. How did that work out for you?
Yeah, I suppose you saw during the game that you can just click twice and you have the bash. You don't have to really stop walking or anything. Actually, you need to walk and then press 2 times.
Agreed. Bryn, how did you feel coming into this match, given the differences in your seeding? We talked about it at the start that randomizer seeds are not as meaningful as traditional speedrunning seeds, given how random they are. But I guess were you nervous? Was there anything in particular that you had practiced or anything like that?
Yeah, I practiced doing the enter to grenade tree, and found that you can use this new keybind to easily enter with 2 grenade brushes there. And
well, that's very nice.
What else did I do? I watched Shed's stream to find out kind of what his playstyle was and what made him go so fast, and he seemed really solid. He picked up I think he had a pretty similar playstyle to what I wanted to do when I do Randomizer. He picked up lots of pickups without going too far to find like one pickup. I don't wanna go for a pickup if it takes like 20-30 seconds. If I can avoid it.
So
I would agree.
So I've got one question. You ended up in Moon Grotto finding Grenade pretty early on.
Yes.
And ultimately, it turns out Shed didn't find that. Were you assuming that he found that and that you were in pretty even positions there?
Well, yes, I thought he would have it as well. So I guess I gained quite a lot of movement speed and advantage because of that. So that can explain it also.
I agree. I think that definitely was the decision that sort of did it for me. At the time, we were thinking, oh, he doesn't have keystones, he's gonna have to come back here later. But I think that grenade pickup ended up really clinching it, especially in the early game, because that led you to find things like Stomp much sooner than Shed was able to.
Yeah. The pickup, the key pickups was a little worrying. So I did quite a lot of key jumping later on.
Yeah. That was just a bit of a troll seed in general. I mean, forcing you to go to Forlorn Ruins. Of course, you didn't know that it was, definitively in Forlorn because you hadn't checked Sunstone, but from our perspective, we could see that everything had been explored, and at the point where it became clear that it was a Forlorn seed, that's where things got really interesting, and that's where, I already asked you about your decision to go to Forlorn, but I think it's just fascinating how these randomizer seeds can turn out.
But Shed must have done a very good job in playing because he's only 5 minutes behind me, and I found Grenade earlier. So very well done to Shed.
So another fun fact, in all of our bracket predictions that we did before this tournament started, no one actually expected you to take that race. Do you have anything to say to those people?
Well, I'm not too well known, I guess, so I did a lot of original horror and haven't been as active in Definitive Edition, and I haven't played a lot of Randomizer either, so people don't know if I guess they don't know if I can play or not, so it's not that surprising.
Speaking of which, we'll finish up in a second. This isn't even a question, I just sort of wanted to acknowledge something. I really appreciated that you did the vanilla strat in Sorrow to get that frog stuck on the micro ledge.
Yeah, it's a real annoying strat for a lot of people.
Right, I mean, it is annoying because that micro ledge is a micro ledge and it's super slippery, but like I said, not even a question. I just thought that was cool to see. That's a strat I've not seen in quite some time.
Don't know if I had any other way to break that.
You could have gone around, but that would have been slow.
Yeah.
That would have been about the only option.
But you had to do that all the time in the old vanilla, so it's still there.
So I think I have one final question, at least for me. You're moving on to the round of 8 soon, and you'll be facing Covert Muffin there. So do you have any sort of thoughts on that match? How are you feeling going into that?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that a lot. I like him, and I watched his stream quite a lot when he started speedrunning, so it's a match I'm looking forward to.
What would you say your favorite kind of muffin is?
I guess apple in the middle, I guess.
That is a good decision as far as muffins go.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Right.
I think that'll about do it. As far as I know, Rory, your match, just before this had to be canceled due to the game deciding to not load Sorrow. And am I correct in saying that we do not currently have a new date for that one?
That's
at this
correct.
Exact moment?
I'm going to have to work out with Oshi. We'll be able to hold that match.
Mhm.
But
We will, however, be starting some of our doubles matches this coming week. Currently, the first scheduled doubles match is Team Cockatrice versus That Trick Sucks. I don't actually know offhand who those people are, but those are the teams, and they will be they'll be racing on this coming Saturday, and I'm sure we'll have some additional races, probably including the rescheduling of your match, Rory.
Indeed.
I'm sure we'll have that done this week.
Team Cockatrice is going to be Chicken Supreme and Declan Gecko, and That Trick Sucks is Hitachi Hex and Uncle.
You know, those are nice team names. I like it. But for anyone who enjoyed the race and isn't already a regular person around the Ori Discord or whatever, you can feel free to join, and we'll probably be spammed with some kinds of notifications before there are matches. Or you can follow people on Twitter to figure things out. Basically, if you enjoy Ori, there will be more of it to come. And in the meantime, make sure that you go to Games Done Quick, because the mini marathon raising money for hurricane supports is still ongoing.
Absolutely.
So go watch that.
Definitely go watch that and support that marathon if you like speedruns.
Agreed. But that'll about do it for us. Rory, it was fun commentating with you, and Bryn, congrats on your win.
Absolutely. Congratulations, Brynhold.
Thanks.
So that's going to do it for us. Thank you all for watching, and have a good rest of your day.